Hey you guys, welcome back to Criminal Law. We're moving on to Module 7, which marks the beginning of a whole new area of offences. We're starting to look at dishonesty offences now. We'll begin with the classic, theft, and then we're going to move on to theft plus violence, which is commonly known as robbery. So are you sitting comfortably? Have you got your workbook open to the definition of theft? And have you made some hot tea? Then I'll begin. You can find the definition of theft in Section 1 of the Theft Act 1968 and in your workbook too, under the theft header, of course. The actus reus of theft is appropriation of property belonging to another. The mens rea of theft is dishonesty and an intention to permanently deprive. Theft is a surprisingly technical offence, and each of these elements could be examined in the SQE. So let's look at each of them one by one and figure out exactly what they mean. So starting with appropriation. Appropriation means assuming at least one of the rights of the owner. You do not need to appropriate all of the rights of the owner to fulfill this criterion. So for example, let's say I'm at a cafe and I really fancy having a mocha. Now, I don't have any money on me though, so I wait by the checkout until someone orders a mocha. Once I hear them order a mocha, I wait there until they serve the drinks. And when the buyer is distracted, I quickly take a sip from their mocha before they take the drink away. I then make a quick getaway, leaving the mocha drinker alone with what remains of their drink. Now, in that example, I have not assumed all of the rights of the owner. I've not drunk all of the drink or removed it from them or taken it with me out of the shop. I've only had one sip. Nevertheless, the right to sip the drink is one of the rights of the owner, so this will be enough to satisfy the requirement of appropriation. Another issue that can arise with appropriation is where the perpetrator of the theft didn't have the mens rea at the time of the initial appropriation. So let's go back to the cafe example for a moment. Now this time, I'm not sipping a stranger's drink, but instead, I'm standing in the queue waiting to buy my drink, and the person in front of me orders an extra large mocha, whereas I only have enough money for a small mocha. So when it's my turn, I order a small, and then I wait at the end of the counter for my drink to come. After a minute or two, the barista nods at me and says, "Your mocha," and then hands me a drink. I take the drink and I walk out of the shop. Now, the barista has gotten confused and has given me the extra large mocha instead of the small one. Now, by taking the drink and walking off, there is an appropriation. I have assumed at least one of the rights of the owner. But at this stage, I don't realise the barista's error, so I am not being dishonest. At this stage, there is no theft. As I leave the cafe, though, I suddenly realise, to my great delight, that the barista has given me the wrong coffee and that I have got an extra large one instead of a small one. Now, at this point, I'm faced with a choice. Do I go back and offer to exchange the coffee I've been given for the one I actually paid for? Or do I keep on walking and enjoy the extra 200 millilitres of illicit coffee that I've been handed? I keep walking. Now, when I decide to keep walking, at this point, I do have the mens rea of theft. I now am being dishonest, and I do have the intention to permanently deprive the true owner of their coffee. So my act of keeping hold of the coffee and continuing to walk off with it would be considered a later appropriation. In other words, appropriation can be an ongoing act. So where the defendant initially lacks mens rea, a later appropriation means you can still get concurrence of all of the elements of the offence, and theft will be made out.